All right, so good morning again, and I want to welcome everyone to today's PLAR session. I am Claudia Buchanan Morris, the Recruitment and Enrollment Supervisor here at UCC, as well as the Graduate Recruitment Advisor, and I will be your host for this morning's session. All right, so on behalf of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this morning. We're expected to have an exciting session where we will be able to explore the prior learning assessment and recognition process and the opportunities it can create for prospective students. Today's session is designed to provide clarity, guidance, and support as we walk you through the PLR process, answering your questions, and of course, helping you to better understand how the process actually works and how you can, the most exciting thing is how you can use your experience to take on this academic journey. So we truly appreciate your interest in your and participation. And we hope that this session will be as informative and valuable to you all. At this time, I want to hand over to Ms. Donna Hunter, our Recruitment and Enrollment Manager, who will begin today's session by bringing you the welcome and greetings.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Buchanan Morris. Good morning, everyone. And we want to welcome you to today's PLAR information session. Turn your experience into a career-ready degree. On behalf of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, we are delighted to have you join us this morning as we explore your work experience, professional achievements, certifications, and of course, prior learning that will help you earn a master's degree at the UCC. Here at the UCC, we believe that learning does not only take place in the classroom. Many professionals have spent their years building expertise through leadership, management, entrepreneurship, and service within their different industries. And through our prior learning assessment and recognition, commonly known as PLAR, we provide an opportunity for that experience to be formally recognized and transformed into academic advancement. So the UCC continues to be a preferred choice for higher education because of our commitment to flexibility, innovation, and student success. And we understand the realities of working professionals like yourself and adult learners, which is why we offer practical, career-focused programs designed to meet the demands of today's evolving workplace. Our emphasis on accessible education is paramount, next to none. Experienced faculty, flexible delivery options, and industry-relevant programs, which allow our students to balance their education with your professional and personal responsibilities. So this morning, the Recruitment and Enrollment Department, along with the College of Graduate Studies, we're here to guide you through the process. We're going to be answering your questions at the end of the presentations. We're going to provide much needed clarity regarding admissions and all the requirements that you will need to take your seat here with us at the UCC and join the UCC community. So, without further ado, I want to say welcome. It is indeed our pleasure to have you join us this morning, and we hope that at the end of this session, you'll be able to take action. And what's that action? To start your degree program here with us at the UCC. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share with you our friends. And thank you for investing in yourself by being here to spend this morning with us. Once again, I want to welcome you. And I'm looking forward to an engaging session where we will be answering your questions, as I said, at the end of this session. So make sure you have your notepad, or if you're going to be using your computer device, take notes, write your questions down, and we ask that you hold them until the end of today's presentation. I want to thank you. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hunter. And I do hope that we all have our pens and notepads to take notes because we really don't want this boat to leave us this morning. All right, I am now going to hand over to our next presenter, Dr. Andrea Sutherland, who is the Dean of the the College of Graduate Studies and Research. She will be speaking to us about the eligibility requirements and, of course, the CMAT exam overview that is required for the prior learning assessment and recognition applicant. Dr. Sutherland? All right. So we will move on to the next presenter until she joins us. All right, so our next presenter on schedule is Mrs. Diane Boyd, and she is the Director of Admissions and Student Services from the College of Graduate Studies and Research. Mrs. Boyd will be speaking to us about the documents and evidence that are required for the PLAR, as well as what is required in the portfolio. Mrs. Boyd, you may go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Buchanan Morris and Mrs. Hunter. And welcome to everyone. I'm so happy to see so many of us this morning. I really didn't expect the gathering to be so large. And I'm really happy for this because this is a great opportunity. And we are, as was said earlier, we want to partner with you in the investment in your future academic aspirations. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm hoping everyone can see my screen. Okay. All right, so everybody see my screen? So Mrs. Buchanan Morris, is my screen visible? Okay, I'm seeing the thumbs up. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so this is a real information session. And the reason that we're doing this is because this is not something that we take lightly. We know that you have the requisite the requisite background to fulfill the requirements, but we want to make sure that there is a match between your background, your academic and professional backgrounds, and these master's programs. All right. So prior learning, what is prior learning assessment? Now, prior learning assessment determines if the experience that you have, your work experience, your life experiences, if these experiences are equivalent to specific college level study, and in this case, it would be the master's programs. And it's not all master's programs, by the way. That would be the MBA with specializations, the Commonwealth Executive MBA, and the Commonwealth Executive MPA, or as we call it, the Commonwealth Executive Masters in Business Administration or Public Administration. So those programs have specific learning outcomes, and the prerequisites to get them to matriculate into those programs would be normally a bachelor's degree. It doesn't have to be a bachelor's degree in business administration or public administration, but a bachelor's degree, academic learning at the tertiary level in a bachelor's program. So what we are looking for is learning outcomes from those types of programs, bachelor's programs, that would relate to both skills and attitudes that you have learned. And so credit is awarded not just for the prior learning experience, but for demonstrating that what you have learned in your prior experiences is equivalent to the learning outcomes, skills, and attitudes that you should have if you had completed a bachelor's program. So who is a mature entrant? One, someone who does not meet the standard admission requirement. As we said before, that would be a bachelor's degree, or the requirements to be granted conditional acceptance. For example, if you have some outstanding requirements that you can meet in a fairly short space of time, for example, documents that are outstanding, you would be able to get into the program. But if you do not have those, then you would be considered a mature entrant. You should also be able to demonstrate the ability and the motivation to pursue graduate level studies. And what this means is that as a mature, the word mature kind of gives some clues, meaning that your professional experience is of such that you have gained abilities and skills and a motivation to pursue graduate level studies. So here are some of the requisites. One, you should be over the age of 30. This is not discrimination. This is actually packaged in the name mature entrant, okay, or mature candidate. Again, you should have a minimum of 3 years work experience for the CEMBA program, for the MBA program, or 5 years work experience for the CEMBA CEMPA program. As we said before, MBA means Master of Business Administration, CEMBA means Commonwealth Executive Master of Business Administration, and CEMPA means Commonwealth Executive Master of Public Administration. So as you can tell, there's a little difference in the minimum work experience, because the Executive MBA is kind of like a program for older persons who have had several years of not just work experience, but work experience at a high level in supervisory or managerial or even business ownership level. All right. And we would want you to be able to present those educational or professional qualifications. So it's not something that you can just list on your CV without evidence. This process that we're going into depends heavily on demonstrating. It depends heavily on providing evidence that you actually have the qualifications or the experience that you say that you have. So what are the components of this process? The first, I don't want to use the word hurdle. I know we're heading into sports season and so on, but we don't want to make it seem as if this is going to be a walk in the park either. Why? Because we want to ensure that you are able to actually complete the program within the 2 years that or within the 20 months of the program. So there is an achievement test called the CMAT. Some of you might have already begun preparing for this, just to see what your level is at with respect to education. All right. And it's a sort of basic foundational test. It's not, we're not asking you to do a PhD in these areas, but we must know that you are able to think at a certain level, write at a certain level, and be numerate at a certain level, and have some basic understanding of the world environment in which we live and operate. Then there is preparation and submission of the prior learning assessment portfolio. And after having successfully completed these 2 steps, then there will be an interview. So each one leads into the next. The CMAT is the first step. You can't, it doesn't make any sense for you to submit the portfolio and expect an interview until you have successfully completed the CMAT. Then you submit your portfolio. Once it's accepted, then you will be invited to participate in the interview. Now, what is this test all about? An aptitude test, of course, is an test on what's your scholastic achievement so far, in terms of how can that be reproduced in a test form, right, or in answers to a test. So this is designed to provide an additional dimension of measurement for candidate selection. And there's a fee for it. It's $100 US. And and what you're paying for is not just the administration of that test, but it is also access to the online materials that will help you to prepare for this test. And if you successfully complete the test, you are eligible for admission in the year that you have passed the test or the following year. If, God forbid, something happens and you're not able to begin in 2026 or 2027, begin your program in those years, then you will have to retake the test in 2020 if you want to gain access in 2028. So these are the components of the test. It's actually 4 tests in one. General awareness, that's world affairs. English language, basic English language, because that's the language that you will be studying in. You'll be reading for your degree. You'll be writing your assessments. So you have to know that you have a grasp of the language. Quantitative aptitude, this means various math-based skills that you would have to prove that you have. And of course, reasoning. Please note the weighting of it. It's 30 marks for the general awareness, 50 each for English and math, and 70 for reasoning. Why? Because we want to know that you can think critically, that you can solve problems. We want to know that your brain already works that way, because these are not things that we will be teaching in the program. All right? This is just the very basic level. You're not getting any credit for this. This is just to support your matriculation. But this is to help you to understand that there are certain basic foundational skills and knowledge areas or capacities that you need to have in order to jump from whichever level you are at now into a master's level program. Because you see, that's what the bachelor's is there for. It's a 4-year preparation for tertiary level education above a bachelor's level. So you have to demonstrate that you have these abilities, and everyone who is coming in as a mature entrant, no matter what other qualifications you have, must do this. This is not negotiable. So it's a pass-fail, and if you fail any of the segments, if you get low scores in any of the segments, you'll be able to retake those segments until you get the level that would make us understand that you're proficient in all 4 areas. The materials will be available on the CMAT course page on our learning management system, which is called Moodle. You will get access to them once you have paid the US $100 100 US in order to access. And this is not a refundable fee. So again, we also want to make sure that you are actually committed to doing what it takes, not just to matriculate into the program, but actually complete the program. And wherever you are, you just let your either Mrs. Buchanan Morris or one of the other coordinators or advisors, you let us know where you would want to take the test. The test is not accessible online. You'll have to come in person at one of our campuses, either in Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Mandeville, Maypen, or Kingston. All right, there's a mic open. Please close your mics until the end when we'll take questions. All right, so we move on now to the portfolio, the prior learning assessment portfolio. Now, this is it's a proper documentation of relevant experiences. And I'm going to help you, give you a visual. Relevant is in capital letters, it is bolded, and it is underlined, and it is highlighted. That's just a visual for you, which means that, everybody has various stories to tell. All we need in this portfolio are experiences and academic achievements and professional achievements and other life experiences that would equate to learning and that would equate to your ability to matriculate into this program. So let me give you an idea. There are some jobs that entail driving, for example. All right. We've seen persons come in and they've done I don't remember what it's called, like you're in the army or you're in the police force, defensive driving or something like that. I don't remember. And there are people who put that in the portfolio. Now, learning how to drive defensively is an excellent skill. All of us need it. If we're driving in Jamaica, we need it. We need that skill. But guess what? That skill is not relevant to a master's degree in business administration or public administration. Okay? So that is not information that you would get any credit for. All right? Another suggestion, another example. So, you are you're a fireman or firewoman, and you have to do CPR. Again, that is very, very useful information. That's a very useful skill. But again, it is not relevant to the MBA. So while that is good and will make you a rounded person, it does not it is not relevant. So look keenly back in your life's experiences, and it doesn't only have to be work experiences, other work experiences that are going to show your leadership, your teamwork, and other skills that would be beneficial to you in a master's level program. So the title page should capture your personal details, title of your portfolio, which would be, prior learning assessment portfolio, your photograph, your name, the academic program to which you're applying, and the date that you are submitting it. There should be a table of contents, and I'm going to show you what should be in that table of contents. And so your portfolio is going to have, there are sections, and there should be a clear listing of these sections. Then your personal, professional, and or professional profile, that again, your learning experiences that are relevant, areas of personal growth, and your competencies. Your statement of purpose, this is supposed to convince whoever is assessing your portfolio that your achievements show promise for success in a graduate program. All right, so these are achievements again. If your hobbies are knitting or rifle range shooting, those again are not achievements that show promise for success in a graduate program. Unless you are the leader of a knitting club, an international knitting club, and you sell these for a living and you have made a business out of it, a successful business out of it for at least 3 years, and you can demonstrate that you have marketed your products, that you have sold your products, that you have a wide range of products, that you have a niche you have identified a niche in the market, and that your business is successful. So you also have to provide an introduction for this statement, in this statement of purpose, and give your reasons for pursuing a master's degree, and include any unique qualifications or interests you may have, again, that would be relevant, and give a brief discussion of your professional and community service engagements. All of these, that statement of purpose means, what is your purpose? Anybody who doesn't really have a reason for or cannot express to the examiners or the assessors that you have a motivation, an intrinsic motivation, and a purpose in doing this apart from just having MBA beside your name. That means you're not going to be effectively motivated when the going gets tough, because the going is going to get tough for everybody, not just people who do not have a bachelor's degree, but for everybody who is going to be doing the master's level program. Another thing that you should have in your statement of purpose is descriptions of and examples of personal determination and success drivers, as what I was talking about earlier. What is it that you want to achieve, that you believe that doing this master's degree program is going to help you to achieve that? When you think of the investment that you have to make of $9,000 US, why? What is your personal motivation? Because if something else comes up that is more important than getting this degree, you're going to stop and you're not going to finish. So you have to demonstrate that, you have to show that. You have to show where you have shown initiative and creativity. You have to show problem-solving ability. You have to describe your plans, your goals, your objectives after you have successfully completed the degree, and say how the program will support your goals and objectives. And finally, as a professional, you would sign it and date it, because this is your story. Statement of purpose is your story. of achievement. An achievement in looking in forward with eyes of vision. So think of the statement of purpose as a composition with 4 different parts. You introduce yourself, your interests, your motivations relevant to the degree that you're pursuing, a summary of your academic history, discussion of the relevance of recent and current personal and professional pursuits, and then elaborate on your academic interests and name your degree that you're trying to enter, and explain your reason or reasons for applying to the program. Please also submit a current resume. The current resume is important, currency. And I know we have this thing about speak it into being, but I've seen persons submit resumes. So you are applying for the Commonwealth Executive MBA. And on your resume, you have the Commonwealth Executive MBA. Clearly, you know, a resume is a historical document. It is not a prophecy. So you have to put things in it that are real. And if you have started a program, but you have not finished the program, and you have no intention of finishing this program, or in at least not before you complete the MBA, then you would put incomplete. You would not put pending, because pending, you'd only put pending if you have one course to complete, and that course is going to be completed between the time you submit the resume and the time that you begin the program. All right, I hope everybody understands that. So pending and incomplete are not the same. Pending, because I've asked for people, I've seen people put, you know, that they have qualifications in an MBA, in a bachelor's degree from particular institution, and I say, please submit the transcript. And when I look at the transcript, I either see a lot of failures, or I see, you know, maybe 1 or 2 courses or 1 semester. That's not pending. Because if a program is 4 years and you only completed 1 semester, that's not pending. You have abandoned it. All right? Even if it's a temporary abandonment, you have abandoned it. You have to write incomplete for that. All right? So, as if you notice, what word is repeated here in the second bullet? Most resumes consist of work history, training history, educational history. All right? So it's not things that you're speaking into being, that can be seen as dishonest if you're putting things on your resume that you actually do not have. All right? And that's just a general advisory for whatever your purpose of preparing and submitting a resume. Just put in historical facts, things that can be proven by documentation. Give a summary of your professional experience and give your references, or a statement advising how reviewers can request professional references. Now, you should also have, I think I've been at pains to say documentation is important. If you have a business license, if you have certain certifications, professional certifications, please have evidence of those. If you've lost them, you can get a letter from the institution that you receive the certifications from. If it's work, If it's something internal, you can get something from HR that would list your certifications that you have done, the in-house training that you have done, and the dates that you have done them, or the year that you have done those trainings, the names of those training experiences. Certificates of completion are always welcome. So please, dig up your bottom drawer, dig up your top shelf in the closet, wherever you have them, dig them up and submit them. To demonstrate career achievement, experience, and effectiveness. These are the types of things that are always acceptable. Performance appraisals or assessments, written commendations. So these would show evidence of excellence on the job performance, to show superior intellect and application and initiative. It would show that rewards and awards that you have received, or whatever recognition that you have received, whether it's a congratulatory letter or commendation letter that you received, whether it's evidence that you received you were given a promotion because of this, or you were given added responsibilities because of what you have done, anything like that. Demonstrate your involvement in special assignments or projects, whether you are seconded to another area in order to, provide additional support because of your expertise, team leadership, product improvement, design or development, anything that you created on the job. If you are the one doing the training, if you're the one creating the flyer, if you're the one going out and doing presentations, marketing presentations, and you are the one that created the whatever the thrust is, those are the things that you would show evidence of. And as I said before, I'm going to repeat myself, of course, you can't just say you did it. So whatever you list or talk about in your statement of purpose and in your CV, on your resume, you have to be able to prove those. Evidence of successfully conducting formal workshops, seminars, or training sessions. All right. Career achievement or experience or effectiveness continued. Any mentoring that you have done that's in a formal work-related scenario or management development program, anything like that, if you have participated in anything like that. And so I'm not talking about your lecturer just, your supervisor just calls you into, a random meeting to discuss something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that you can get the agenda for and the flyer for and the email for that you participated in. Company or industry awards and citations, very important. Non-formal training, but this non-formal training, it can't just be something that you attended for an hour or half a day. This is something that is professional development, skills training, seminar that you attended, minimum 16 hours per workshop or seminar, not just one of those day things. Unless, you actually do get a certificate, not just a certificate of participation, but it gives you some acknowledgement of training that is necessary for your the expertise you have or for the field that you're in. All right, significant business ownership. This is not, you know, something that is not formal. You know, if you're just selling things out of the back of your car at work, you know, after work and at lunchtime or before work, that's not a business ownership. So you should have, you know, articles and memoranda of association. You should have your registration. You should be able to provide some, you know, things from clients, client satisfaction, you know, any things that you have actually done to promote your business that's formal, at a formal level. These are the types of things, events that you have held or participated in with respect to your business. And of course, a summary of your transcript of relevant learning from your experience. What are the skills that you have actually gained from each of these experiences that you have outlined and shown evidence for? Community involvement and leadership. Of course, you know, if you're a member of a board, you know, some significant body, a civic organization, in your church, in your club, some societies, you have to show that you are a valued and participating member of whatever it is that you're doing in your community, not just a Labor Day project. So please don't, and we know Labor Day was just weekend gone. We don't want to see a bunch of pictures of you putting cement into the road, unless you are the head of the neighborhood, the community, whatever they call it, neighborhood watch or whatever, unless you play a leadership role there. But taking the shovel and pouring cement into the road would not necessarily prove that. You would have to show your name, or your role in the TOR. You would have to show a letter that in which you were installed, or you actually were granted that membership. Those are the things that you would show to prove that you had a founding role or a significant role in some community-based body. Founding role in organization exhibiting sustainability beyond 3 years. So we have a lot of these. Jamaicans are very community-oriented people. So we do always get people who are very, and we really appreciate it, people who are very involved in their community, bettering Jamaica one event at a time, one initiative at a time. It has to be something that's sustainable though. All right. It can't be a one-off. So this one we could do a little laxity on, because maybe you were doing a fundraiser, you were leading a fundraiser for a particular need that didn't go beyond the 3 years. That could be submitted. Selection by peers for a commendation. You know, you would provide the letter or the award, pictures of the award. Community, national, international awards and recognition. Of course, you would provide pictures of those, and you would just need one picture per award, right? The most notable one. So if you have been recognized, you know, on either Heroes Day or, you know, in one of those things, and you have the picture of yourself being pinned by the Governor General, clearly that's the one that you're going to put in your portfolio. All right. Membership in professional organizations or lobby groups, articles published about your accomplishments. So if Observer or the Gleaner thought your story significant enough to write about it, please put a copy of this in your portfolio. Other documentation that can be considered is you have authored, you have written something, you have written a book, you have published a book, you have written an article in the newspaper, you have been involved, a participant in research activity, and the results have been published. And, you know, as I said before, adding photos to your document is useful in conveying and verifying concepts and information, and also to provide clarity. All right. So each photo is not just going to be of you on a tour with your colleagues somewhere. It has to be a photo that is representing some specific thing. So you would have to label it. And if it's accompanying a document, then you can put the two together with the label of what this is supposed to be conveying, and what it is supposed to be giving your us information about. And then, as with everything, you have to have a short summary of what was presented in your assessor, to the assessor, a conclusion. So let us look now at the interview. So you have successfully done the CMAT. Now you have submitted you have submitted your portfolio. There is a preliminary review of it. If there are any gaps, it will be returned to you so that you can fill that gap. And then once it is deemed acceptable, then you will be required to attend an interview. And this, you can either ask for it to be in person, but it can always be done via Zoom, by a virtual platform where you can do it during your lunchtime, because it's only half an hour. It's just half an hour, the tops. So you can do this during your lunchtime, in your car, for example, or in your office, or if you don't have somewhere that doesn't have a lot of noise in the background, then maybe you just take off the time and be at home, something like that. And this interview is done by the admissions manager or nominee, and it's also done by myself or a designate if I'm not available. So what is this interview doing? It's evaluating your level of maturity, your interpersonal skills, how you conduct yourself, the focus of your career, how is this going to contribute to building your career, and your motivation for doing this. So the following are taken into consideration: the managerial experience and effectiveness. So we will be looking at your prior learning assessment portfolio, and if there are questions that we have on it that we feel that need to be explored, that would be discussed. Your potential for significant growth, your ability to contribute to a study team, and your class participation, because class participation is one of the areas in which you will actually get graded for your classes. So we want to know that you actually bring something to the table that you will benefit this class discussions and teamwork. your ability to do graduate level work. All right. The questions will be asked that will help you to help us to determine whether you are really able to work at the graduate level. Because remember, these gaps that you would have, and we would definitely have gaps not having completed a bachelor's degree. These you would probably have a steeper learning curve than some other people. And that's why we have to ensure that your prior learning, the prior learning that you have can make up for those gaps that you would have not having a bachelor's degree. So that's one of the things that you have to show. You definitely have to show in your portfolio and when you are being interviewed. All right. And of course, can you commit to a year, 2 years part-time commitment, 20 months for the MBA, 24 months for the Executive MBA and Executive MPA. Can you commit to that? Now, let's just look at the rubrics, how it's scored. So this is the scoring and weighting for the CMAT. It's 30% of the overall weighting for prior learning assessment recognition, 30%. So we already looked at what each test would give you. It's marked out of 200. You'd get a percentage of that, and then that percentage will be translated to a weighting out of 30. So the test is worth 30%. Then the portfolio. This is the weighting for the portfolio. It's heavily weighted. It's worth 50%. All right. So even though it's scored out of 70, and here is the scoring for each section, and this is what you're looking at. How does it look? How is it organized? You get 5 marks for that. How are your written and communication skills displayed? So, subject-verb agreement, proper paragraphing, proper sentence structure, proper use of words. Those are the types of things that would be, that you'd have to demonstrate for these 5 marks. What does your introduction look like? Is it actually introducing what you have put in your portfolio? 5 marks for that. Is your curriculum, is your CV or your resume current? All right. Again, is it talking about all the history that you've had? Is it going into the future and trying to speak things into being? This is what is going to be shown here for 5 marks. Your statement of purpose, is it adequate? 20 marks, heavily weighted. Please note, 20 marks. So your statement of purpose must be ready, must be good. It's not intended to be a whole, because if it's too long, that's going to be, so even though it says sufficiency here, you remember it has to be relevant. All right, so that's also what's going to be graded here for the 20 marks. The summary transcript of relevant learning from the experience. So how authentic are the things that you have provided and listed in your summary transcript? 5 marks. And then, of course, the most heavy weighting of all is the documented evidence. Have you been able to substantiate using documents? How valid is what you have provided? Are you just telling stories, or do you have evidence and documents to show? 25 marks. All right. And then finally, the interview. These are the things that we're looking at. Are you goal and objective oriented? Do you have good oral communication skills? And this is important because you'll be doing a lot of, so your public speaking, is going to be tested. You'll be doing a lot of presentations in your courses. So you have to be a good communicator, both orally and in written form. Proven management skills and experience, operative word proven. Team and group work participation skills and experience, because most of your courses will entail group teamwork and group work. Leadership qualities, of course, your ability to finance the program, your community involvement, your knowledge of the program to which you're applying. Don't let us ask you a question about what is the course that you're most looking forward to, and you're going to tell us, well, I haven't seen all of the courses, or I'm looking forward to all the courses. Lies, right? You have to go on the website or look in the documentation that was provided, maybe it's the whatever the documents that were provided to you to tell you about the program, the promotional documents, or the website. Go on there and learn something about the program that you're going into, right? Sometimes people say, okay, I want to do the MBA with specialization in HR. And then when we actually get to the HR courses, they say, no, that's not what I want to do. I actually want to do marketing. Go on the website and look at what the program is, and have a decent answer to give us when we're asking you about the program in the interview. Conflict resolution skills, because you're going to be with persons in your group, in your cohort for 2 years, 20 months. You have to be able to resolve conflicts. You have to have those skills. And of course, you have to have research skills, because you are going to be asked to do research. For the Executive MBA, it will be a formal research process, but for the MBA, most of your courses will have you do some aspect of research, not Google searches, research. All right. So this is the process flow. Most of you have already gone through the initial advisement period, where you are in touch with your advisor, your recruitment advisor, and you're well along into the process. You are reviewing the requirements, and your advisor would be scheduling when the submission should take place, and be following up with you and collecting those documents. And then once those documents are being collected, then they would be compared with that checklist, those two checklists, the admissions checklist and the prior learning assessment checklist, and a gap analysis would be done to see if you have submitted everything. And once we are closing those gaps, then we would see that you are just about ready. We would provide the materials for you to do the CMAT. You would get guidance on that. You would get further guidance on the portfolio. Once that's submitted, you would do the interview. You would receive your approval once all the check boxes are checked, and then you would get your admission letter, and then you would give the acceptance of the offer and then you would be registered and enrolled once you have made the fees. Once you have accepted the offer, paid the relevant fees, you would be registered and enrolled. All right. So here is just another way of looking at the process flow. It would start with you expressing an interest. The application checklist would be provided. The candidate you would be given information about how to apply, how to matriculate. You'd be guided through the application process. You would, make the payments, whatever payments are necessary. You would complete the test. And once you've completed the test, you would go through the portfolio review and interview processes, and it would be determined at that point that your prior learning meets the competency standards. If not, then you'd go right back to the drawing board with this red line. Hope nobody is going back here to fill whatever gaps are needed. If it's a yes, then your acceptance letter would be prepared and you would accept the offer and you would be enrolled and registered. So this is it. If there are any questions, I believe now is the time. I'm not sure. I'm handing over now to the host.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Boyd. That was really such a, very insightful presentation on our PLAR application process and portfolio development. Your presentation really has helped to bring clarity to our prospective students. I really do hope a lot of the questions have been answered already because, like I said, it was such an insightful and packed presentation. So we truly appreciate the time that you took to, guide everyone through the process and the requirements for the portfolio. So thanks once again, Mrs. Boyd. Um, like I said, a lot of information was given, and I noticed that a lot of emphasis has been placed on the portfolio. The weight of the portfolio alone is 50%, right? So I just want to implore our prospective students to pay keen attention to what is required for the portfolio development. A lot has been said, and
I
so
did,
we,
sorry, I didn't say the waiting for the interview is 20%.
okay. All right, thanks for that, Mrs. Boyd. So the weight for the interview is 20 and the portfolio is 50%, which means that the CMAT exam will be
30%.
30%, right? All right, and those are the three main components of the process: the CMAT exam, the preparation of the portfolio, and the PLA interview. All right, so with that being said, we're going to open the floor for our Q&A segment. If you're unable to open your mic, you can go ahead and write your questions all right, I'm seeing a few questions already all right, let me just go ahead. All right, so good afternoon, very comprehensive presentation, thank you. I already have a bachelor's in physics and mathematics and an incomplete MSc with only the thesis outstanding from UWI Mono. I completed, passed all the coursework. Will those credits assist with the MBA course?
Only if they're equivalent. So you would have to send that transcript in. We would look to see if there are any courses that are equivalent to any of the courses that are in the MBA to which you're applying. And if not, then you would not get any credit for them or
All right,
advanced standing.
all right, thank you, Mrs. Boyd. The follow-up question to that was, do I still have to do the CMAT exam? So if I may, the CMAT exam is for persons who do not have a first degree. All right. Once you have a first degree, you're not required to do the CMAT exam. All right. I'm not
There
seeing
are
any.
some circumstances in which persons who have a bachelor's degree may have to do the CMAT if
Oh,
their
their
if their
GPA.
GPA is very low, because you must have a GPA of 2.0 at least. So there are some institutions that give people bachelors with GPAs of 1 point whatever. And so those persons would have to do the CMAT.
Yes, very much so. Thank you for that, Mrs. Boyd. All right, so I'm seeing. All right, Miss Andrea Anderson, you may go ahead with your question.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, all. I came on a little late. I would like to know the difference between the executive masters and the regular one.
You can go ahead and respond to that, Claudia.
Okay. All right. So for the Masters of Business Administration, the MBA with specialization, are for candidates who may want to specialize in a particular area, right? This MBA is offered in 9 different areas. There's an MBA of accounting, finance, healthcare management, disaster management, project management, um, entrepreneurship, general management. I don't think I'm not sure if I'm leaving out any, but the MBA with specialization is for persons who want to specialize in a particular area. So let's say, or even for persons who may already have a first degree, but they want to once again want to specialize, or if you just want to have a master's degree. The Commonwealth Executive Master's Degree programs are more like a general MBA, so there are no areas of specialization, except that there is the Commonwealth there is the MBA in Business Administration and the MBA in Public Administration, but those two are still like a general master's degree program.
Additionally,
Okay.
the Executive MBA has a research
Oh,
component,
yes.
a group research component, and the MBA does not. So for those people, especially for those people who would want to go on to doctoral level work, it's best for you to do the Executive MBA because you would have experience in doing research at postgraduate level. That would be really helpful to you at the doctoral level.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
You are most welcome. All right.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hi,
Romaine
good
Lafayette, you
morning.
may go ahead.
So I would have completed the profile or earlier on in the year. I'm not sure. I didn't get any feedback regarding that. So I'm not sure if it's something that can be reviewed and see if there's any tidying up or any cleaning up that needs to be done in that regards. And, I could be advised of same.
Did you complete the CMAT?
As in the test or
The test?
Um, I did the test. There were some concerns in regarding that. So I guess I'll speak with the administrator in
All right,
regards to
so
that as well,
yeah,
so we
talk to
can
your
move forward.
advisor so that those things can be sorted out and um your all your documents can be submitted for review.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You are welcome. So I will take a closer look at your application as well, Romaine, and then we'll speak. All right. Jermaine Ferguson, you may go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
When I first heard about the turn your experience into a career-ready degree, I was looking forward for some advantage. However, I understand earlier in the presentation, firefighter was used as an example as it relates to EMS. However, as a firefighter with 20 years of professional experience, I applied specifically for the MBA in disaster management. While I value the broader MBA curriculum, my primary interest lies in the disaster management focus program. I also hold a BSc, a bachelor degree in management studies from the University of the West Indies. All right, given my professional experience and my academic background, I would like to inquire whether I may be eligible for exemptions from any courses.
All right, so where exemptions are concerned or advanced standing, they have to be at the same level. If you look at your transcript for your bachelor's, you will see that those courses, the numbers that those courses start with is 1, 2, 3, or 4, because all of those are bachelor's level or what they call undergraduate level courses. Courses that you are going to be doing at the master's level will all begin with the number 6 because they are postgraduate level courses. So you cannot use a 400 level course as an equivalent for a 600 level course, even if they have the same name. Because what you'd be studying at the undergraduate level course in the other undergraduate level course will not be at the same level that you'd be studying it at the 600 level course. So unless you have a course, you have done a course that is a 500 or 600 level course with the same learning outcomes as a course that is being done in the master's, you won't get any exemptions or advanced standing. And that's just a general rule. That's not UCC. That's just a general rule in tertiary level programs.
Okay, so how many courses in all in the MBA?
14.
14. Okay.
Yeah, but that you see, you shouldn't be asking me that question, because you should have gone onto the website and looked, or you should have looked at the documents that were given to you, because it has that information, the number of courses. You say you are interested in the disaster management. You should already know what the 4 specialist courses are in
Yes,
the disaster management. Yeah.
confirmation. Okay,
Huh?
then thanks a lot. That was just
All right, Jermaine.
okay, thanks a lot, miss.
All right.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Boyd. Sharika, you may go ahead with your question.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm a bit under the weather, so I hope you're hearing me clearly.
We're hearing you clearly. Go ahead.
I have already attained my bachelor's degree in business administration with a 3.17 GPA. So everything that was discussed here, I don't think it is in relation to me because I will have exemption from the CEMA test. Being that
Yeah,
my
it doesn't
GPA
apply to you, Sharika.
Right. So then I'm wondering well, will there be another webinar as it pertains to persons with my qualification? Because all of this does not speak to me at all.
Yes, so we will have a few other sessions coming up to speak to persons who, of course, do have the requirements or the requirements for the program. So if you are not yet a part of our WhatsApp channel, please follow the link in the chat, as well as our email contacts are in the chat, as well as our WhatsApp direct messages numbers in the chat.
I will do
All
that.
right, so you can look out for those sessions.
Yeah, and I'll leave. That's
As
all.
well as if you want to speak to me before then that's fine. My number is in the chat.
For some reason, I have limited visibility as to Oh, the chat messages are displayed on my phone. Not sure why.
All right, go ahead. All right, so send me, the email. All right, so send me an email at recruit and enroll soup, S-U-P, at ucc.edu.jm.
ee@edu.j.
Right, so that's recruit and enroll, SUP, at ucc.edu.jm.
All right, yeah, I will. Thank you, Mrs. Morris.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Ms. McLaren, you may go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Morris. I am a bit, well, I am very late because I'm at work, so I didn't even get the notification. So if I missed some of the information, how do I get access to what was said earlier? Hello?
Mrs. Buchanan Morris, only get, is this recording will be made available to them?
Absolutely, absolutely, Mrs. Boyd, it will be. It will be. It will be up on our YouTube channel, UCC Jamaica, where you will be able to watch as well as on our channel.
Okay, okay, thank you. And I'm not able to see anything at all in the chat, so I'm hoping that the information we placed in the description on the YouTube channel.
Wonderful. I'm going to put in the chat the link for the WhatsApp channel for the College of Graduate Studies for recruitment. And I'm also going to put a link for a WhatsApp group where you will receive continuous support as you go through this process to complete your application and submit your documents.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're so much welcome.
When do we have to submit the documents, all documents to start the program?
All right, so the next start date is actually in October. Not that you have a lot of time, because we are subscription based, and I can tell you that the list is very long. So I would encourage everyone, if you're on here and you have not yet completed your application, please go ahead and do so. We usually give a deadline of at least a month for you to submit all outstanding documents after you have done the application.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris.
You
So
are
I'm
most
assuming
welcome.
then that the link for the application is going to be in the description on the YouTube channel. I'm assuming that all of that will be there. So is that the case?
Okay, so at the end of the session, I will share an email with everyone that's a part of the session, and you will get the link to the application as well as other supporting documents.
Okay, in our email. All right,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, thank you so much. That is
You're most welcome. Thank
that's
you.
helpful. All right, thanks.
All right, Khalil, you may go ahead.
You said somebody wants to speak to me.
Miss Buchanan. I'm not sure if you hear me. I'm actually in some noise because I'm on the road.
Yes, I'm
I
hearing you.
sent a question in the question and answer section. Hear me?
You placed a question in the Q&A section?
Yes.
All right, I'll go through momentarily. So let me go to the chat. What is the age limit for enrollment in the program? All right, so as was mentioned, for the mature applicants to the Commonwealth Executive Masters, the age limit is 30. So you must be 30 years old to apply for the Commonwealth Executive Master's degree. Mrs. Boyd, anything you want to add to that?
All right, so what was said is for if you are a mature entrant for any one of the master's degrees in which mature entry is permitted, you must be 30 years old. If you already have a bachelor's degree, I think it's 25, if I'm not mistaken. But that's because you should have at least 3 years working experience. So if you have 3 years working experience and you're below the age of 25, then you can still apply. So what we are dealing with today was a prior learning assessment age requirement, and that's 30 years for both degrees.
All right, I have a follow-up question from Ms. Moore.
Sure, go ahead.
So if you're under what if you're under 30 years old? You have demonstrable experience at an executive level.
We would have to look at those on a case-by-case basis. But the name mature entrance speaks for itself. So it's determined that 30 years is the age of maturity. So you would have to really prove, based on all that you have provided, that you actually have other experiences that compensate for the years of experience. So you would have that discussion with your recruitment advisor, who could be able to deal with that. So that would be on a case-by-case basis.
All right, no problem, Ms. Boyd. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the clarity. Appreciate it.
I see Daniel Anderson had the same question, a similar question, and also if you have an equivalent degree, I think you would still have to have a discussion with your advisor, because I'm not sure why you would be wanting to do the same degree unless it's from an institution that is not approved by our accrediting body. And if it's not approved, then it wouldn't be acceptable. We wouldn't be able to accept any of the courses. You understand, Daniel? So it wouldn't make sense for you to do an equivalent degree. You would want to do something else. I don't know if Daniel is still here.
Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm gonna have to drop. I have to go into a meeting. Mrs. Buchanan Morris, I'll reach out to you with some questions that I have.
Certainly, no problem. All right, so let's continue. I'm seeing some other, all right, I have a 3.5 GPA in what master's. All right, so the minimum GPA requirement is 2.0, so you are free to apply to any one of our graduate programs. For those who have other questions, I'm going to ask that you reach out to us, and we will provide all the information that you desire. The information is placed in the chat, WhatsApp group, contact details for the recruiters, and then we will bring you through the application process and enrollment. All right, I'm going to hand over to Ms. Hunter, who will wrap up the session for us this afternoon.
All right, thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning into the afternoon. It was a wholesome session, and I'm happy you gave yourself the opportunity to be here with us at this time on this day to receive more information regarding your program of interest, specifically coming in as a mature entry applicant. We want you to know that we are invested in the outcome of your academic pursuits, just as you are. And so we want to ensure that you not only have the information that you need to take action, but we provide the necessary support from the recruitment and enrollment department. The recording for this session will be on our YouTube page at UCC Jamaica, and you can always reach out to us at support. And that's the email address support@ucc.edu.jm. We have also shared in the chat the link to our WhatsApp channel. Our WhatsApp channel will have a wealth of information, guidance, dates, upcoming sessions, right? Information that will help you to get started on your academic journey. As we know, you have other things that you're working on. Some of you are even at your jobs right now at your desk and you're logging on to just stay connected and get the information. So we really want you to be able to access our services at any given time. Please ensure that you submit the necessary documents ahead of time to allow for the processing and for us to be able to reach out to you when needed, should we need additional information. Today we had presentations from the College of Graduate Studies, that is Dr. Andrea Sutherland, or Dean. We also had a presentation from Mrs. Diane Boyd, Director Admissions and Student Services. And we also had Mrs. Claudia Buchanan Morris, who is a Recruitment and Enrollment Supervisor here at UCC. I am Donna M. Hunter, Recruitment and Enrollment Manager, and I just want to reiterate that we stay committed to ensure that you will have a seamless transition into the UCC community as we get started for processes for upcoming semester, fall 2026. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to engaging and assisting you throughout your onboarding process. I want to wish everyone an amazing afternoon. Thank you.